All right, in this video, I'm going to teach you what it's like to live in all of the areas of Seattle, Washington. So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? This is Jackson Ray Wilkie with the Real Agent Now group right here in the Seattle metro area. If this is your first time to this channel and you want to know exactly what it's like to live all over the Seattle area, then start now by subscribing to this channel and tap that little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. And honestly, because of these YouTube videos, we're getting so many calls from people helping them find their dream home right here in Seattle. So if you are thinking about moving, relocating anywhere in the Seattle area, you got to make sure to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even send the pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of us, we got you covered when moving to Seattle, Washington. All right, so if you are not from the Seattle area, it can be very, very confusing. Now, unlike some other big metropolis cities where you've got a center hub and everything's around it, well, Seattle's kind of like that, except for there's bodies of water that separates everything. You know, there's ferries across the bay, there's light rails, there's all sorts of transportation, and it can be very, very confusing. So in this video, I'm going to teach you kind of the 10,000 foot view of what it's like to live in Seattle from downtown, up north, down south, to the east, to the west, just kind of a general what it's like in those areas. You know, and then when it comes to you actually moving here, giving us a call so we can find that perfect area that's close to your work or wherever you need to be, that's the most important step. But let's get right after it. If you want to live in downtown Seattle, you know, we get that question a lot. And when you're looking up Seattle, that's the first thing that comes to mind is Seattle, Washington. So what do you have right there? Well, obviously you have downtown, and just to the north of that, you're going to hear of a neighborhood that's super popular, and that is called Queen Anne. Now, Queen Anne sits up high above Seattle, overlooking it, and there are some of the most beautiful, biggest homes right there in that area. Now, it's kind of a quiet area. You don't have all the shops, restaurants, everything in the actual Queen Anne neighborhood. But if you want the true blue Seattle life of the original turn-of-the-century homes and Tudors, giant, big homes, Queen Anne is definitely your spot. You don't want quite that big home, or maybe you're a little younger, you're a young professional, younger family moving to the area. Just down below that, closer to downtown, is Lower Queen Anne, and it's right next to Capitol Hill. Those are very walkable areas. You're going to find a ton of condos there that we can get you into, and that, you know, you're right next to all the action, and people really enjoy those areas. So if you're looking for like downtown, the Lower Queen Anne, Capitol Hill areas are definitely super popular and very fun. Now, I could spend an entire episode on just downtown Seattle, but that doesn't give you the best picture of all the living. So I will stay close and go right to West Seattle. Now, it's down south and it's by the industrial district, and it's also on the water. Now, this is kind of a funny area where they don't really like to associate with Seattle. Yeah, we're from Seattle, but we kind of do our own thing. That's really the vibe that's there, but it's unbelievable. Now, basically anywhere you go in Seattle, or the Northwest for that matter, you're going to find very active people that like water, they like walking, they like moving, they just like getting out and doing things. That's the vibe and lifestyle that you'll find in the West Seattle area. The most notable area down there is called the Junction, and it is where all those blocks of shops and everything is. But you can also go out to the beachy peninsula. You'll have your beach life, you know, all the paddle boarding, kayaking, and really live that, you know, Northwest lifestyle. So it's really close to downtown and really, really fun. Let's move north. Now, basically, there's one thing you need to know. If you go to 85th Street, basically everything south of 85th is going to have curbs. Is that important? Well, yeah, if you like walking, getting out, if you got family, kids, it's super important. Now, if you go north of 85th, you basically, you know, kind of get rid of those curbs. The people just really don't want to pay to get a bunch of curbs up there. So you just need to be aware that, you know, south of 85th, you're going to see a lot better walkability. And what's right there south of 85th? Green Lake. It is a community in its own. And I'm talking about the lake. Literally, the lake is its own community. It's super fun. You'll find everybody out swimming in the summer. A lot of paddle boarding, hiking. In fact, you can walk around it. There's paths. There's a bunch of hiking trails around it. And that's, I mean, it's going to be kind of redundant when I talk about that because it's the Northwest. If you like the outdoor lifestyle, you know, there's a lot of those. But Green Lake up north is an incredible area. And, you know, you're still close to downtown. 30 minutes or so, you can take I-5 straight south to downtown Seattle. All right, and then just south of Green Lake, you have Lake Union. Now, if you're going to want to live around the edges of those, just like basically any spot, it's going to be pretty expensive. I'm going to go into some areas where you can actually get some really cool beachfront houses for, you know, pretty affordable. But Lake Union, Lake Washington, those areas, they're pretty pricey. But if you can afford it, it's some of the best living around. So we've kind of covered the north. Now, if we head out east Seattle, taking either the 520, which is the North Bridge, or I-90, those are going to take you right into Bellevue. And then just to the northeast of that is Redmond. These are two of the most killer areas. I'm going to do a video on top 5 neighborhoods, you know, that are safe, best schools. Those two are really, really good spots. If you talk about basically anywhere in these areas, you're going to have good safety, good schools, walkability. And it's not just for families. They're actually rated really high for young professionals as well, especially up in Redmond. Now, it's just on the very north end of Lake Sammamish. Now, right on the southern part of Redmond, there's Marymore Park. It's a giant park with all the trails, hiking. You know, you can do your picnics, everything right there. This is an incredible area, like I said, for young professionals and adults. There's a very cool, you know, walkable sense up there where you can find restaurants and shops and bars. I love this little area of Redmond right here. At the same time, it's super safe for your kids and great schools. And yes, you're right at Lake Sammamish. So beautiful, big lake that you can do all of your water sports on. There's a lot of options for living on this lake. So if lake living is something you're looking into, those are great areas to, you know, find your perfect waterfront home. Now, Bellevue and Redmond are, you know, they can be spendier areas. You're not going to really get into a good 3-bedroom house for, you know, $500,000. You're going to be a little bit more money. But also when you talk about the median home price here compared to, you know, San Francisco or New York, we're literally almost half the price. So $700-800, you know, you can start getting into a beautiful home in these areas. And obviously, moving up from there, you'll find the home of your dreams. One of the coolest areas in Seattle, and it's right on the border of I-90. So it's just south of I-90, and it's in between basically Seattle and what we call East Seattle. There's Mercer Island. If you want the ultimate waterfront house, this is the area. And maybe you don't find that waterfront house there, but you want to live in the #1 school district in Seattle, and also in the top 5 best areas to live in the entire nation. Mercer Island is your spot. This community is absolutely amazing. I've seen some houses in there in the, you know, $800,000 to $900,000 range, but looking more towards $1 million is going to get you an incredible home in one of the best communities. Now, the best part about Mercer Island is right to the west you have Seattle, and right to the east you have Redmond and Bellevue. So if you work one of those, even if the family split, if the husband works downtown, wife works, you know, east, it doesn't matter. You can take I-90 either direction right out of the north side of Mercer Island to get where you need. And the good thing about I-90 right there, that bridge isn't tolled. So the other bridge just to the north, 520, now that is tolled, and it's anywhere from $4 to $5 a day. They scan your license plate, they send you a bill at the end of the month. You can get a ready-go pass, and it cuts that down by like $2 a day. So if you're traveling every day back and forth, just be aware that the 520, the northern bridge, is tolled. It's going to be quicker sometimes. You can jog south down through Bellevue, you know, to get to I-90. Just got to watch your traffic on those days. But all right, so I'll touch on one area real quick, just south of Lake Washington, south of Seattle. It's Renton. Now, Renton's an area that's starting to clean up, gentrify, get nice. It used to be, you know, pretty shady a long time ago, but now it's actually cleaned up. If you're looking for a more affordable site that's, you know, really starting to gain in popularity, Renton's a great opportunity for that. There's going to be some light rail action coming down towards Renton to where you'll be able to take light rail up into Seattle, down in those areas. So look for that in the future, which is going to really start making these places grow because you won't have the traffic anymore. You'll be able to hop on the light rail. But yeah, you can get into a more affordable home down in the Renton area and still be really close to Lake Washington. So let's jump on over to the west side. Now, there's an obvious destination on the west side called Bainbridge Island. You know, there's a ferry that goes across to there. It's one of the most baller spots ever, and if you're on the water there, you're going to be spending a couple $1 million, but literally you'll have one of the most beautiful views, see downtown Seattle. Absolutely amazing. So Super bougie area, some of the best schools and best living. And literally you can take a ferry right to work every day, which is so awesome. But if you want somewhere that's way more affordable and you can literally get on the water for, $500,000, just to the west of that is a little town called Bremerton. And if you've ever looked it up, there's a lot of naval bases right there. So there's a lot of people moving there. It's kind of a blue collar feel, but at the same time, I know it's really good for families. And they're really starting to, grow there. It's another great spot I think that you can get in cheap because there's a ferry that goes to Bremerton now. A 30-minute ferry from Bremerton all the way to downtown Seattle. If you're asking me what I would rather do, drive 30 minutes, which is probably going to be more like an hour in rush hour traffic anywhere outside of Seattle, or take a beautiful boat ride all the way to downtown Seattle and I can just do my work on my phone or laptop, I'm choosing that ferry. So if you want a killer little neighborhood, Bremerton is an area that you really should be looking at because of that ferry. And they're starting to develop the downtown to a really fun area as of lately too. All right guys, so I know that's a very broad video, but I want to give you what it's like to live all around the Seattle area. And there are hundreds of different neighborhoods. I'll be covering a bunch of those, but at the same time, that's my job. We go over what you're looking for and what you need to be by for work, for living. But if this is your first time to this channel and you want to know everything about living in Seattle, Washington, make sure you tap that subscribe button. Tap that little bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. Honestly, people are moving here from all around the world and they are reaching out to us and we are helping them find their perfect area. And we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking of moving or relocating here to the Seattle area, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or even send the pigeon carrier. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when moving to Seattle, Washington. And until the next video, we'll catch you later.